there. Didn't see ya. Welcome into the fanciest night in the history of the living forest. That's right. It is the 2020 Youtinees. We are so excited to have a ridiculous amount of fun with all of you. So without further ado, Wes, punch it. Everybody, welcome to the 2020 Youtini Awards on the Living Force. I am one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me tonight are the doctors, are Wes. Let's introduce them, shall we? See how dapper everybody looks. First, we have Dr. Corey Helton. Hey, buddy.
Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. What a joy to be here tonight. I'm so excited.
Oh, what a natural applause break. We also have Dr. Charles Hankel. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. So good to be here. Thank you. Please hold the applause. I know it's an exciting night. The longest running, most prestigious award show for the Star Wars Expanded Universe.
That's right.
It's great to be back.
Oh, absolutely. Great to be back at our first annual ever. To round us out, though, of course, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Wes Jenkins.
Greetings, salutations, everyone. Good to be here. This jacket is mighty tight because it's bidding for your team, but that's fine.
Oh, man.
But we're so glad to have you in that jacket. We're so glad to have all of you joining us in the chat tonight for this momentous occasion. Honestly, there's so many people I can't even name everyone, but hello to all of you. I hope you're enjoying your night at the first annual Youtinees. I hope you enjoyed the red carpet coverage to see what everyone was wearing. But we are here because 2020 was a crazy year, but it was a damn fine year for the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Later on, we are going to be giving out some awards. But before we do, we have just one piece of news we want to go over because, frankly, we thought it was a little too important to skip over. So today, gentlemen, we got an 11th Star Wars show announced. That's right, confirmed December 2021. The Book of Boba Fett is coming to Disney Plus.
Yes, I can't believe they announced that. That's a big deal. And all of us, we talked about that. I think when we got together, all jacked up, Eric, of like, where the hell is the Boba Fett show? And here it is. Here it is. So just to clarify to everybody, because this was a little confusing to I think a lot of viewers and listeners, the Boba Fett show is a separate show from The Mandalorian. They announced that officially kind of today. In addition to the way they talked about it on the show made it sound like maybe it could be a replacement for The Mandalorian, and it's not. It's going to be its own show, but it's coming out in 2021, and that's going to postpone. That's going to delay the third season of The Mandalorian to 2022. I think is what they said. Is that correct?
It sounds like that. I don't know if it gave as exact times, but yeah, they're going to finish production on Boba Fett because it's being executive produced by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Robbie Rodriguez, who directed one of the episodes this year that everyone loved. So super glad to get him back. But they're going to finish production on Boba Fett, and then Jon Favreau said on Good Morning America this morning, they will then begin production on season 3 of Mandalorian. So that'll be the order. And we were going to jump right into the awards tonight, but I thought, you know what? An entire series about Boba Fett starring Tamura Morrison and Ming-Na Wen as Fennec Shand, who went from apparently being dead in season 1 to now coming in 2 series, including The Bad Batch and Boba Fett coming up soon. I thought it was a big enough deal that it merited conversation, or at least a mention, right, guys?
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, so stoked about that. I guess we got to keep Bounty Hunt going, don't we?
Oh, man. I guess we
that's
do.
Just how it works.
Yes.
I guess.
But yeah, so stoked about that. We just wanted to mention that off the top because we know a lot of you are excited for that, as are we. As a reminder, our episode about the final season episode finale. Oh, look at subs and follows. Thank you all. Our Bounty Hunt episode about the finale of season 2 will be coming soon. We've delayed it because we wanted to make sure all 4 of us were on it because it deemed that importance. So keep your eyes on our Patreon for that. Again, all that stuff is at youtini.com/Patreon. And only thing we want to talk about on Patreon this week before the awards is a quick thank you to Nicole Kemper, who became an annual patron this week.
That's right.
For all of 2021. So cheers to you. Welcome to the
Cheers.
family.
Here, here.
Thank you so much.
Here, special applause.
Absolutely. All right. Well, gentlemen, I would argue we look too damn good to delay any further. So we are going to get into the main part of our show, but I'm not going to intro it. We're going to have a very special guest tell you what you're in store for.
Welcome everyone to the 2020 Youtini Awards, the awards that are voted on by you and handed out to the best in Star Wars EU publishing over the past year. I'm your MC for the evening, or whatever time you happen to be watching this video, Matt Davenport from the set here of the Cantina of Comics. So, without any further delay, let's find out who the winners are for the 2020 Youtini Awards.
Ooh, that voice. I looked in the chat, John Dutch Vander. That voice is velvet. Yes, it is. Thank you, Matt Davenport. You'll know his voice from the intro of every show, his set and video from the Cantina of Comics. And before we get to our first award, I did want to mention something in the chat. Everyone is asking about my R2 suit. Thank you. By the way, if you're listening to this on audio, I highly suggest you head over to YouTube and check out the video of this particular show. This suit, everyone, is from Oppa Suits. It is the best drunk purchase I have maybe ever made. It has served me well. I wore this to the Last Jedi premiere. I wore this tonight, and I'm planning to wear it someday to a wedding. I'm not saying whose, so beware if you know me.
You were invited to
man.
the Last Jedi premiere?
Sure, that's the story.
Oh my God.
But okay. Yes, everyone, we are here. The 2020 Youtini Awards. A little bit of background on how these awards came together. Earlier this year, our very own Andrew Bell came up with an idea that we needed an award show to celebrate the year. And instantly, everyone in the Youtini community was on board. Our staff went crazy. We have a lot of special thanks we're going to talk about near the end of the show that help with graphics and music and video and production. And we are just, I'm so stoked. This looks so cool. I'm very excited. A couple fun facts for you all.
Whoa, I've never heard that
What
sound
is that
before.
sound?
Thank you,
Heather
Heather,
gave
for
1,000
bits. I was like,
Oh
whoa,
my
it's
goodness,
getting
might be
tropical in
attacked by a
here.
wild animal. The
Anyway,
waffle was about to
thank
come
you.
out of nowhere.
Oh man,
my
sounds I
goodness.
did not know were built into our streaming. That's fun. I was like, what the hell is that? What's burning down?
Well, what's burning down is my momentum with that bit, but thank you, Heather. You're amazing. All these bit words are great. A couple fun facts about the 2020 Youtinees. Voting this year consisted of the Youtini staff votes and the Youtini community. That's right. A bunch of you in our community voted on your favorites. Community vote winners were weighed the same as one staff vote. However, 2 categories were ultimately decided by the community vote that were close enough. 5 different categories tonight were decided by 2 votes or less, including 2 categories that had to be decided by a special tiebreaker vote. Of the 8 categories, there were 7 different things that won. So we'll see how many of your favorites got mentioned tonight. And there was a very lopsided vote that I will mention when we get there. And I'll also mention the closest vote when we get there. But gentlemen, are you ready for Matt to tell us the first category of the evening?
Yes, let's
Absolutely.
do it. Let's do it.
start
I
it
can't
off.
wait.
Take it away.
The award for Best Easter Egg is given to the best moment that made us say, I understood that reference. Here are the nominees. Lando referencing the Lady Luck, the Rise of Skywalker novelization. Hubgrub Commander, From a Certain Point of View, Empire Strikes Back, Rendezvous Point by Jason Fry. Zayd Killiday offering Poe a ride off Kijimi, Poe Dameron Freefall. And Revenge of the Sith novelization references, From a Certain Point of View, Empire Strikes Back, Disturbance by Mike Chen.
All right.
All right.
Nice.
Here's some
And
excellent categories here.
the sealed Youtini goes to the Lady Luck reference in the Rise of Skywalker novel by Ray Carson.
All right.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well done.
This is a
Look
good
at
one.
that.
There we go.
The runner-up did go to the Revenge of the Sith novelization reference and Disturbance by Mike Chen. But Guys, I loved this reference when I was reading through this novelization. To reference the Lady Luck ship that originated in Legends by Lando, such a cool touch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been around for a long time. Lady Luck has. It was present back in Legends, and it was really refreshing, I think, to see that brought to canon. One of the coolest kind of small details that I think they decided to bring to canon, but still a really, really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think when we mentioned that on our roundtable for the book, actually, earlier this year, that Ray Carson did a great job, really, of expanding The Rise of Skywalker more than a lot of film novelizations that are very good, but Ray really did a lot of that. And things like peppering in references to Lady Luck are reasons why that book is so lovely. So congratulations,
Absolutely.
Ray Carson.
Do you think we'll see it brought to life in the Lando show?
Ooh,
I would imagine so. I mean, that's a
think we could.
spectacular, small detail that would get all of us excited.
Yeah,
It's described
like
as
that.
being kind of a fancy yacht. I mean, it's Lando's ship, so I mean, it's got to be like
Lando's pleasure yacht. Let's be very clear.
Well, the logo for Lando is just like sparkling gold. So
Yeah.
I mean, man, it's gonna be fancy.
Yeah. Now, I also wanted to shout out the other nominees who, again, we loved. There's a reason they made it into the finalists. The Revenge of the Sith novelization reference in From a Certain Point of View. That was dope because that is, as of this recording, our #1 best reviewed book on all of Youtini.
Yeah, that's true.
So I love any reference to that. It was like in the writing style. Like, this is what it feels like to be Anakin Skywalker. This is what it's like to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he put that in Disturbance, which made that story a little more eerie, didn't it?
Yeah, it totally did. And I mean, I think we get like some small details about that from canon, and I think we saw some of that like from all the nominees in this category. But I totally dug it.
Yeah, and I do want to say one quick little a special shout out to Zaid Calladay in Podameron and Freefall, because if anyone remembers from our older shows, I did say I would get drunk at Star Wars Celebration and recite Zaid Calladay's entire monologue from Black Spire. So I have 2 more years to do that. So that's not even a Patreon award. That's just something I want to do.
Yes.
So I look forward to that intensely. So a cheers to the Lady Luck. A cheers to Lando Calrissian.
Cheers. Congratulations.
Matt Davenport.
That's right.
If you would be so kind, Matt, hit us with our next category of the evening.
The award for Best Quote is given to the best quote from any book published in 2020, as voted by the Youtini staff and community. And here are the nominees. We are powerful, Captain, even if it's not the kind of power you're accustomed to. Padme to Pankaka in Queen's Peril. The key to a satisfying life is to accept those things that cannot be changed and make a positive difference with those that can. Thrawn in Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising. Ozzel had a few regrets, not only because he was, at that moment, getting force-choked by the big guy himself, although that was certainly part of it. From a Certain Point of View, The Empire Strikes Back, Kendall by Charles Yu. Rebellions may be built on hope, Iman considered, but they end in a bitter galaxy. From a Certain Point of View, Empire Strikes Back, Beyond Hope by Michael Morici.
And the Youtini goes to the quote from Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising by Timothy Zahn. Well done. The key to a satisfying life is to accept those things that cannot be changed and make a positive difference with those that can.
I want to say a special shout out to Jose for designing these incredible awards. I want one of those on my desk.
Yeah.
Like I want a whole stack of them just like on a shelf like in my house, and somebody will be like, "What the hell are these awards? You've won all these golden awards." I'll be like, "Oh, those are the Youtinees. Don't you worry."
Yeah, the awards from my own company. But I want to do a shout out to this particular quote, because I want to say, when this quote got nominated, I thought it was a really cool thing, because when I was first reading this book for review, this was the quote I wrote down in my notes to like put at the heading of the review. Like, this was such an interesting quote for Thrawn, because I think it showed a very unique direction for the character. To be like, a really accepting Thrawn of fate and trying to be positive and make a huge difference, which was a huge switch from like the villainous Thrawn.
Yeah.
It was him really being a good person, and I think that really was a big reason that everyone loved Chaos Rising so much.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. I don't think there's many more quotes in the Thrawn book, which you guys know I absolutely loved. I gave a perfect 10 out of 10 this year when we reviewed that book. I absolutely loved it, and I don't think there was another quote in that one that hit me quite as hard. Like it felt just like Charles, I think you asked us some really interesting questions about this. I think we talked a long time about this is what spawned the question: is Thrawn a bad guy? Right?
Right. Yeah, we talked a lot about that. I mean. And first, can I say how fitting is it that Zahn gets the best quote for the first annual Youtinees? I mean, that is just
absolutely
picture perfect. But yeah, this quote in particular was fantastic among many that we probably could have nominated from this book. And yeah, it just perfectly illustrated a new side to Thrawn. I think this quote in particular that I think we're going to continue to see in these next couple of novels.
Totally. I also want to say, I didn't say who the runner-up was because I was about to talk about them. The runner-up was the quote from Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston, which was Padme to Panaka. That was our bad of the typo in that initial announcement. But it was, "We are powerful, Captain, even if it's not the kind of power you're accustomed to," which I think is very really emblematic of that book. One. It's very emblematic of the world we live in now, too, with women that are still trying to be like, hey, shut up, you idiot dudes. We have power. Deal with it. And I think as a nice battle cry of the year, that was awesome. And for me, kind of really brought into why I love the Handmaidens so much, who are characters I honestly hadn't thought a ton about before these last couple of years with E.K. Johnston's books. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we all really liked the Handmaiden book this year. I think that was a great lesson. Just the whole Padme series we're up to now. We're up to two books, and they've said it's going to be a sort of a trilogy, right? Don't we have a third book coming? Is that all right? Is that been announced?
We haven't said anything. Yeah. I don't get why they wouldn't.
I don't get so
Except
either.
For money, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's going to be a trilogy. That's kind of been all of our thoughts. But I don't think another book has been a better lesson in giving books another shot, maybe even rereading them, because we famously were not that crazy about the first Padme book right when it was released, but we all read it or listened to the audiobook again this year and absolutely loved it before we went into this new Padme book. So it was a fun sort of rejuvenation of looking at a book from a different point of view that we really appreciated. So I was glad to see that quote in here.
Look at you saying point of view.
Made us pay attention to episode 1 too. Whenever you watch episode 1 down, are you not like, I know what that person does and that person in the background does, and you tell your friends like, oh, and this person, they were actually, they were a decoy. It wasn't actually Padme right there. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, here, read this book.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, bro, don't you know who Irte is? She's the blonde one. It's kind of like when you're watching Lord of the Rings and you're like, that's the scene where Viggo Mortensen broke his toe. I don't know if anyone else does that. It's when he kicks
that helmet.
Yeah. It's the best time. But yeah, shout outs, amazing quotes. And I think that's one of the coolest things about Star Wars novels lately is that most books just have that one line or 2 or 3 lines that you really think about. I think to Master and Apprentice last year with Claudia Gray of I choose the light because it is the light.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's some quotes from the books that just hit the punch so flipping hard. So really good. Really good. I also wanted to kind of discuss the rebellions they built on hope a little bit, because that was that was another really fun quote that was one of the nominees for this year. That it was really, I thought it was really fitting to see that in another book that's been thrown around a little bit. We get a lot of references to Jyn Erso in Rogue One, someone who is very special to my heart, as you know. And
Corey, isn't that your favorite movie? You don't really talk about it much. Isn't that your favorite?
I hate to pick favorites, but yes, it's my favorite. Love to see that quote. It's cool to see these sort of hard hitting points make it into other books just in general. So I liked it a lot.
Ooh, Adam coming in with those weird noises. We never got so many bits to use all these noises. Thanks, man. Very excited. Well, congratulations, all those quote nominees. Our next category is a little bit different, I could say. Go ahead and roll it.
The award for Social Butterfly is given to the Star Wars creator who's the most engaged with fans on social media and other forums, as voted by the Youtini staff and the community. And here are the nominees: E.K. Johnston, Charles Soule, Kevin Scott, and Delilah S. Dawson. And the Youtini Award for Social Butterfly, even though he never answers any of my DMs, is...
is Kevin Scott.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, congratulations, Kevin Scott, runner-up E.K. Johnston. And this was an award that we came up with because there's a really glorious thing in Star Wars publishing where the fans and the authors do get to talk back and forth, and it doesn't suck. And it's not angry, it's really fun. And the authors really seem to love Star Wars and engaging in things. And Kevin, I mean, we knew this almost 2 years ago when we had him on the show. Like, this is a man who loves Star Wars, who loves engaging. And if you've been seeing any of his posts about the High Republic lately, comic, like, he loves how much people love reading his work. And it's really great to see someone, in a solitary profession get that validation and love.
Yes, absolutely. And Kevin brought back Jackson the Rabbit too, which is not just like brought him back, but like really brought him back. I mean, didn't he tell us that he wanted that to be one of his legacies? It's like he wants to be the guy that introduces a bunch of kids to Jackson the Rabbit, which is awesome. So fun.
How sweet. And he did it, and he always, whenever people tweeted at him Jackson stuff, he's like always stoked about it. And of course, Charles, I know his and George Mann's friendship we see on Twitter is one of your favorite things as well.
It is. I think that if there was a Youtini for the best, bromance in Star Wars EU, it would go to them, certainly. But yeah, Kevin, was he not our first guest on this show?
I think he may have been. Yes, I think he may have been.
And he's such a nice guy. Honestly, I mean, he's a friend of the show, but I assume it's not because we're so tight. Anytime I tweeted him, like congratulating him on something, he legit will at least say like thank you to like everyone in the feed. Like he's just such a nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it really helps helps make Star Wars publishing feel more like a community. And that's why we're all here at Youtini in the first place, is that we love this community of people that get to talk about things that we love and things we're so excited about that we may not get to talk in person with people about, And I don't know Kevin's life. We're not neighbors. I don't live in the UK yet. But like, I don't know what his day-to-day life is. So it's kind of cool that we get to have people around that say, hey, I love your work. So if you're on Twitter and you read a book or listen to an audio drama or read a comic, tell that creator that you love it.
Yeah.
They're people.
That's one of the best parts I think about our community is that it's huge, but it's also really small. And it's easy to shout out to creators on Twitter and stuff because they don't really get the celebrity status I think that a lot of other folks in Star Wars get. So it's really refreshing to see how exciting everybody is on Twitter.
Yeah, and hey, they take the time to get those headshots to put on the back of the book flaps. The least we can do.
That's right.
Is say, hey, we appreciate you.
That's right.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't look in the chat right now to see Joxy, who says, oh, friend of the show, you say? If you would like to be a Youtini Living Force friend of the show, you can go to Teespring right now, where we do have a friend of the show shirt. You can be just like Kevin Scott.
Youtini.com/merch for the details.
Absolutely. So congratulations, Kevin. And EK similarly. I mean, especially you look around those times, those Padme books are coming out. EK was all about the handmaiden love. Also, like, if anyone talks about Dragon Age or like other things, like she's so open with everything that she's passionate about and things that she loves and the communities that she loves.
Yeah.
So shout out to that.
The interview that you guys did with her was really good too. So you might want to go back on, I'm not sure what episode it was, but that interview was really good. It could have been bonus.
And she was like, and a little behind the scenes, like EK, she was so busy. I know. And she made time to come on the show to talk about Queen's Peril. And I actually got to be on another show with Candace, the Geeky Waffle, a Mandalorian show a couple weeks ago. And she actually came on there as well, just to geek out about Mando. Like nothing to plug. She just wanted to talk about Mandalorian with Star Wars fans. She's awesome.
Super cool.
That's awesome.
All right. You know what? Enough of the sentimentality, the real people. Let's get back to the actual things we hold in our hands. Matt?
The award for Best Cover Art is given to the best cover art from any book published in 2020 as voted by the Youtini staff and community. And here are the nominees. Shadowfall by Alexander Freed with art by Jeff Langvin and Scott Beale. Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising by Timothy Zahn, art by Swarovski Design. Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston, art by Tara Phillips and Lee Zieski. and A Jedi You Will Be by Preeti Chibber, art by Mike Diaz.
Oh man,
crap.
those are pretty. Those are so pretty. Look at that. And the award for best cover art goes to Shadowfall, art by Jeff Langevin and Scott Beal. Oh God, I remember when that cover dropped on StarWars.com. Our Slack, our Discord, my whole
Everybody
Twitter
freaked out.
timeline just lost their goddamn minds.
Yeah, they totally did. It's a gorgeous. Let's show that cover again, Wes, if you don't mind. It's such a gorgeous cover. Like the blues, and it looks like all the Alphabet Squadron books are going to kind of have this sort of colored theme. Like we had the yellow with the first Alphabet Squadron book, and don't we have a cover for the next one too? Don't we?
Yep.
Yeah, we
Victory's
do.
Prize, and it has Will Lark with a beard on the top.
That's
of it.
right.
Like, so
That's
if
right.
you-
A little older,
How can you forget that?
a little wiser.
Yeah, Daddy
Oh, man.
Lark. But yeah, this cover is incredible, and also like if you've read the book, you can see there is symbolism in the placement on the covers, and of course Chasna Chaddock at the center of it. I think putting characters on the front of books is risky sometimes because you don't want to be like too. I don't know. I think it's a slippery slope, but this
It
is
is.
so perfect.
Yeah.
Her expression, that is totally Chaz. The silhouette is great. It is a dynamic cover. And speaking of characters on the front, I want to say the runner-up for this category is also a book I have right next to me. It's Queen's Peril, art by Tara Phillips and Lee Zeisky. Because, oh my God, look at that profile.
I know. That's also a good
Yeah,
one.
that was really good.
That book looks like a special variant cover, like the Master and Apprentice book or something.
You're so right.
It's just the normal one.
Wow. Also, quick side note, Joxy's going wild in the chat, giving out discount codes for people watching right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have
about this.
We're gonna have a talk later. So I can feel
Yeah.
the money just falling away.
So I guess if you're in the chat right now, you're seeing it. And if you're watching it later, we'll see you live later because I guess you get discount codes every once in a while. But I also thought this was cool because I don't know if you guys saw earlier this year, our very own Jake Ruddle put out a video review, and he made a joke about how everything was purple this year.
It
And
was
these two
everything.
covers
Uh-huh.
very purple.
Lots of purple this year. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and, like they say not to judge a book by its cover, but like with Star Wars books, I think a lot of people do judge books by their cover,
Sure.
particularly because if folks have not discovered a community like Youtini where we try to help people get into the books for the first time, like most people just do what we kind of all did growing up: is you pick some book that looks cool off the shelf. Like I famously picked a book with like a badass looking Jedi chick on the front. Yep. And that's how most people start reading. So it's refreshing to see a lot of energy and time and effort going into the cover design, because I think it makes a big deal. I think it's important, and
Yeah.
I'm glad we've sort of moved away from the sort of 90s sci-fi-esque kind of wild looking covers. The Thrawn, the first Thrawn book with the laser shooting at it.
Come on,
Yes,
that's the best.
I love it. It just doesn't
It's
make any
something.
sense. He's like,
No,
yes, I love it.
I mean, I think that like the design cannot be overstated. I mean, look at this show we're doing right now. I think it's a testament to good graphic design, and like the overlays that we have are way more impressive than what we're doing on this actual show. So, good cover art, good book printing, is such a part of it. I mean, that's why we all love Throne Ascendancy. We got blue pages. That was a huge selling point.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Just that little bitty difference. I bet you sold thousands more copies just having that on there. And I
That's a
told
good point.
my friend was like, "Which book should I read next?" I was like, "Well, I would recommend Thrawn, but I don't know if you can get those one with the blue pages." And he was like, "Oh, damn."
Yeah.
And 2 days later, you mean these pages?
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah."
That's
Well, and
fantastic.
And it's also fun because, I look over at my shelf now, and Corey, you mentioned that a lot of the 90s books had like a similar aesthetic. So sometimes it's tough to know, is this in a series? Is this a singular cover? I don't know. And if you look on your shelf, this is my Aftermath trilogy. These are the Alphabet Squadron books.
Yeah, you can
These
see 'em.
are they're very distinct, and the artists are really making their mark. And I think the Alphabet Squadrons are my favorite covers in canon right now. So I'm really glad that You know, my vote counted. What can I say? That's absolutely what I voted for.
I also want to kind of give a special shout out to the kids book that made it into the got nominated this year. A Jedi You Will Be. That is a fantastic cover. I wish I would have picked up all the covers specifically to show on screen just for these books, because like A Jedi You Will Be was a great cover. Like I don't have a lot of kids books. I have a handful of them, but like that one has got a really, really cool cover. Like I love seeing different variations of like movie scenes in kids book format. It's always awesome.
Right. Amazing artwork.
Are there pop-up books that maybe have that? They're like pop-up Star Wars books?
There are a handful. There are a handful.
Yeah, I reviewed the giant cool Star Wars Galaxy pop-up last year, which is honestly, it's massive, and it is sat on my shelf. I don't know what to do with it.
Display it somehow, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to my apartment. This is my giant pop-up book that takes over my table.
That's right.
Turn the page once every 10 days.
Keeps it exciting, keeps it fresh. But speaking of exciting and fresh, the next category is actually about some of the things that excited us the most when they happened. Take a look.
Now our next category is the Best Moment category. This award is given to the best moment in any published work as voted by the Youtini staff and community. And here are the nominees. Luke and Leia training flashback in the Rise of Skywalker novelization. Yurka Quell and ITO showdown in Shadowfall. The Handmaidens are revealed in Darth Vader issue number 4. And the expanded universe characters during the fleet arrival in the Rise of Skywalker novelization.
Oh my gosh, those are so many good moments. I think that's what's funny. Like, we can like books, but when you're just picking the things that got you the most stoked, every nominee will be awesome. All right, without further ado, the best moment of 2020 in Star Wars publishing is The Handmaidens revealed in Darth Vader number 4.
All right, it's a fantastic one.
Is this the first comic win? I think
this is the first comic win.
It is the first comic win. Also,
look at that cover,
I was gonna
too.
say that one could have been nominated for the best cover too. Man, that gives me feels, man. Look at that.
Like even Vader looks like sentimental in that picture.
He does.
Upset
he
at all or
exactly
anything.
the same, but you're right.
Yeah. No, and let's take this chance to talk, because we are famously we're famous. No, we are a book show, right? We talk a lot about the books and things, and we dabble in the comics, but we don't do the weekly polls and stuff.
There's so many of them. It would be impossible to. How would we do it?
But God damn, Star Wars comics this year were so good.
Yes, they were.
Especially this one. Like this moment
blew up our Slack. Like, and that doesn't happen super often for things outside of like Mando reveals and stuff like that. I mean, but people were excited by this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was my banner photo on Twitter for a while of again, I guess spoilers. It's an award show for the year, so we're talking about the things. But in Darth Vader number 4 of the new run, it's revealed that there's the Amidalans, who are a group of people that have essentially been investigating Padme's death since from the time of post Revenge of the Sith to now post Empire, and it includes the Handmaiden. Sabe is a big character in this run. Rico Lee is in there as well. But like, it was so cool seeing these characters who we read earlier this year in Queen's Peril as teenagers, now like fully grown, badass, awesome women that are still fighting for what's right.
Yeah,
and going toe to toe with Vader. Going toe to toe with the big one.
I know. The big guy. Yeah, and I have to say that this entire like arc in the Vader comic this year has been unfreaking believable. All the Padme stuff and him chasing down like what happened to Padme Amidala. Beautiful. If you guys have not seen this comic yet, you absolutely have to. We don't have a graphic novel yet. I don't think yet for this series. It usually takes a little bit. Soon. Yeah, it takes a little while for the graphic novels to make it out, but that's like the preferred way to read the comics. I think I'm personally waiting to pick up that graphic novel. And I haven't read all the comics, but this comic series is what made me subscribe to Marvel Unlimited this year. When they said that they're only going to delay them by 3 months, I was like, damn it, I have to have it. I'm going to start reading all the Star Wars comics as they come out, because it was just blew up in our Slack. It was crazy. Screenshots, it was awesome.
I'm going to say, speaking of things that blew up in our Slack, the runner-up to this was the Quill and ITO showdown in Shadowfall. That chapter that singular chapter of Shadowfall, similar to this comic, I've never seen a single chapter of a book blow up on Twitter as hard.
Yeah,
like
that was very
people
interesting.
were emotionally wrecked.
There was a lot of speculation about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I read that chapter twice. I read it.
Chapter 18.
Yeah.
Andrew said in our.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's
That
like, you read chapter 18?
That moment ruined me, and I'm re-experiencing all the feels right now thinking back to it. So thanks for that. That was my vote. I will say that was such a fantastic moment.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was. I mean, it really it took the things about Alphabet Squadron, the trilogy, that we love the battles, we love the ships, but like the character work that Freed has been putting into that series has been the best, has been like the high point of that trilogy, I think, thus far. And that chapter, just to see Erica Quell, what she goes through, how she has to kind of face every demon she's ever had, and go against this person who was her only confidant for a while, was like, God,
it's like,
yeah, Charles, I'm breaking again.
It was a very strong runner up for sure.
Yeah, just tremendous stuff. And another shout out to the other two, Luke and Leia training in The Rise of Skywalker. That was one of the best moments in the film.
Oh my God,
see the two of them like that, and then to have it expanded upon, to see our Luke and Leia from Return of the Jedi like that was just It was beautiful, and then
it was really good. It's interesting that The Rise of Skywalker, man, that book got a lot of nominations this year, which is fascinating. Fascinating because we sort of famously had a couple of small problems with The Rise of Skywalker. And I think I'm pretty much over them all now. Like my wife and I've actually started. I think we're gonna make it an annual tradition to pick one of the trilogies and watch them at Christmas time. And we're watching the sequel trilogy this year. We watched The Force Awakens last night. I'm actually really looking forward to The Rise of Skywalker. Experiencing is it like only thinking about canon, forget all the meta crap and the directors and the actors. Like the only think about canon and how things play out. And it really changes the way that you watch the sequel trilogy. And the book itself, like they did what we wanted them to do with the novelization, is they took a lot of risk. They explained things that needed to be explained, and really seeing this scene with Luke and Leia like expanded on is the whole purpose of the novelizations, like to really drive it out. So absolutely love that scene. One of my favorites in the movie and especially the book.
Yeah. And of course the other nomination it got, which was the roll call that I will always be sad was not in the film, but of everyone coming in, reporting in to the final bite on Exegol. Like,
yeah, that was awesome.
But that's
that was great.
That's the point of the expanded universe, man. And that's the point of reading these novels and why they're so important, because that moment did happen. Whether or not it's in the film, it happened.
That's right. It did. It did.
And we know that, and we're here to celebrate that.
I know. It's awesome.
Yeah, just amazing stuff. Great moments. And now, though, I will say, as we turn the corner here, our top three category. You know how like you watch the Oscars and it's like, oh, there's some really good stuff, and then they're like, and no. Best actor and
flip
actress.
the channel. Oh, okay, I'll come back when they stop talking about like technical design that I don't even understand.
All right, we're done with sound mixing / sound editing. You don't know the difference, everyone. And we are having the top three. Matt, bring us home, baby.
And our next category is Best Expanded Universe Character. And the award for Best EU Character is given to a character belonging exclusively to the EU, appearing in a 2020 project as voted by the Youtini staff and community. Here now are the nominees. Valius in Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising. Chasna Chaddock in Shadowfall. Shelly Lona Afra in Dr. Afra. And Yrica Quell from Shadowfall.
Oh my gosh. Before we do this, I didn't notice this before. This is not a bit. All women this year.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Listen, the expanded universe has always had a lot of really good women, but it was especially refreshing to see how many women we got this year, and especially, man, this has been like the year for Star Wars women, I think. And the fact that they launched, that we have launching of Project Stardust with Meg on our team, was awesome, right? Great year for women, and now finally to top off the end of the year for women, we have a film being directed by a woman, which is Patty Jenkins. Incredibly awesome. So
it's gonna be so good.
This one is special. Eric, open that damn envelope.
Best EU character is Chelly Lona Afra, Dr. Afra herself, starring in her very own audio drama, her very own comic. This was a great freaking year for Afra.
It was.
Who also has a figure.
Yes, absolutely a great year.
Yes.
The audio drama was incredible. It was like the book of Dr. Afra monologues. Absolutely incredible. And hearing her voice in Cyberpunk too is pretty rad. Who did the voice?
Emily Wuzeller.
Yeah,
shout
right.
out.
That's right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
she's in
Cyberpunk. Like one of the main characters that you can romance, by the way.
Yes, you can. Afra has been a character that it has been fascinating to watch her ascendance, no pun intended, to the runner-up, who is Thalius from Thrawn Ascendancy. To see Afra go from a character who was introduced in a Vader comic in like 2015 to get her own series, she keeps getting series releases. Now she gets an audiobook. She got voted on to get a Black Series figure.
Yeah.
Like, she has never appeared in animation or live action, and she is a fan favorite. Like, this hasn't happened since like Jaina Solo.
That's right.
It's incredible.
She's a great character. I think we will eventually see her brought into some kind of project. I think she's too good not to.
Agree.
I think Afra is really becoming a lot like Thrawn was in the old Legend stuff. Like everybody knows who Afra is. Like that's anyway familiar with the books and comics. Like everybody just knows who she is, and that's how it was with Thrawn back in the day. So and he was brought to a live action and / animation now. So I love Afra.
How different her character is too, because the sarcasm that she throws in almost every sentence that goes out either to Darth Vader or to whoever she's working with. It's spot on. It's really good.
And looking in the chat here, another shout out. Afra also got the GLAAD Award this year for the fictional character that's best in LGBTQ plus representation, because she's a queer woman of color that is taking over Star Wars and comics, and like it's just great. Like she's an awesome character. It's awesome what she represents. I'm so excited for her to continue that. And I also want to talk about Thalius, we discussed this in our Thrawn Ascendancy roundtable, where Corey famously gave it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, baby.
That's
absolutely.
Right, baby. She basically became a co-protagonist in a Thrawn novel, which should be near impossible to do.
Small, force-sensitive Chiss child. Like, I would never have guessed that in 1,000 years. Never.
Yeah. She was spectacular. And I think that, like, with Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good coming in this year, she's clearly got a lot more to play, even though they're talking about there's another character coming in. But Thalius was so cool to see, like, Zahn use her as a vehicle to show us more Chiss mythology. Like, she's the one that ascended the mountain. She talked to the patriarch of the myth. Like, that was really cool stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent depiction.
Any of these characters, man. So y'all can't hear us when we're showing who the nominees are, but for literally all of these, we can still hear each other. And every option that comes up, someone's just like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good one." So, like, anyone who won this would have been fantastic. Like Thalius was up there, Afra was up there. Anyone from the Alphabet Squadron. I mean, just incredible.
Yeah, and also a quick shout out in the chat here, guys. John Dutch Vander makes a great point. Maybe we'll see Afra in that Star Wars Visions series that's coming out. Huh?
That's a good point. That might be fun.
Mystery.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be cool. And it's just very exciting that these characters are getting chances to breathe in so many mediums. Like, I think back to like someone like Saw Gerrera, who kind of started it by going to Clone Wars, to Rebels, to Rogue One, to Rebel Rising, like
to Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, I know.
He's
weird.
Every medium.
Yeah.
So I think Afra is definitely one of those that it's funny because when I think of people who would jump between portals from medium to medium, I think Afra would be like, yeah, let's go. Let's go into a book. Let's go into a comic. I don't care.
Yeah. yeah. Kind of like the holiday special, the Lego holiday special. Exactly. She would be all about that. Yeah. I mean, this has been like the first big year that we've really seen like the crossover. Well, I guess the last couple of years, we're finally seeing all these crossovers between like books and comics and characters, and like, man, the Mandalorian has been so good for this because like we're getting people who are like, hey, who's that? Who's that? I mean, how many living rooms are filled with people like slapping their Star Wars fan in the family? It's like, who is this character? Should I know who this is? And like, I think we're finally at that point, and fans have been dreaming about that for decades of like having a character show up in a book or a comic and show up in a show. So mark my words, we're gonna see that happen soon. I guarantee you Aphra is going to make it into some type of visual medium in the next couple of years. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not usually one of those people that's like, you need to make this person this character. Like, casting happens as casting happens, and I know that's a whole different thing. But if Emily Wu Zeller is available, like, it's amazing what she did with no camera at all to get that character.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you got the character with the voice, put her in front of a camera, let's get Aphra in live action. Our 2020 Youtini character of the year. All right. The big two. Everyone, these are the two we always get asked at Youtini. I'm going to preface this a bit. I'm going to monologue a smidge if you'll indulge me. Oh, we just got bits. That means I can indulge. John Dutch Vander, new sub. Thank you, buddy. Yes. Andrew gifted a tier 1 sub. Andrew, look at you. It's the holiday season, giving. Every day I would say conservatively, we get asked, what's the best Star Wars book? What should I read right now, right? And we couldn't do an award show without saying what's the best Star Wars book, but also what's the best Star Wars comic? Because honestly, y'all, the expanded universe is about the value of all the expanded content. It's about a comic is just as valuable as a book, is just as valuable as an audio drama. Like, all these things are Star Wars. Yeah. And I'll say it. I'm here. I'm drinking fun drinks out of a little glass. Guys, was 2020 the best year for Star Wars expanded content?
I think so. I think you could make a very strong argument that this year has been like one of the strongest years, or you're making an argument for the strongest year ever, right?
Yeah. I
think you could feasibly say that. I mean, think about the year in its entirety. All right, we started over with all the comics. All right, we got a new we got a new Thrawn series, like which is starting. What Timothy Zahn needed. Like not some like you have to tie this into the TV shows. Like, here's a blank slate, write your own entire Thrawn series. We haven't seen that shit happen since the 90s, right? And then we round out the year. We have a new audio drama, by the way, with Aphra. With
Aphra.
Right? And then at the end of the year, they announced 10 new shows, all coming to Disney Plus and a movie. Like, holy crap. Yeah. Like, tell me.
And honestly, 5 days after the year ends, so I'm going to count it. The High Republic technically was going to start in August.
Oh my God.
I'm counting it.
True. Which is going to win all kinds of awards from lots of different people, it sounds like, next year.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not, without spoiling any, the embargo is up. And if you need my thoughts, I did say them on a previous show. I started writing the review today, and I wrote the intro, and I started shaking.
I'm going to have to prescribe Eric's anxiety medication just as he writes the review. It's so damn good. So get ready, people. Right, the High Republic is going to change your lives.
Absolutely. But until then, let's end 2020 with a bang. We had 2 more categories. Matt, give us our first big category of the final 2.
Now for the award for Best Comic, which is given to the best ongoing comic line in 2020, as voted by the Youtini staff and the community. This award is for the line as a whole and not a particular single issue. Here now are the nominees. Darth Vader by Greg Pak. Star Wars by Charles Soule. Dr. Aphra by Alyssa Wong. And The Rise of Kylo Ren by Charles Soule.
Oh my God.
A lot of good books in there. I think that was the first one we were like, holy smokes, look at these nominees. That was great.
Before we announce the winner, though, I do want to say we did miss putting in the artists on the title cards. So whoever wins, we will tell you who the artist is, who is just as important as the writer.
Absolutely.
To comics. But let's do it. I have no idea. I have no idea who this could be. Best comic of 2020 goes to The Rise of Kylo Ren by Charles Soule and Will Sliney. I know that right off the top of my head. Oh my God. This is a limited series that came out this year. this is another one of those that just swept the internet with every single issue.
There's like five issues, right? Five, I think, or four.
I think five.
I think it was
five. I think it was five.
Okay.
Yeah. I own this graphic novel. It's one of the first ones I picked. I think I own all the single comics.
Novel.
I think I actually own all the single issues. I don't own a lot of single issues, but I think I own the whole run in single issues because this one's really good. I think this is going to be like the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer in Star Wars comics. Like, I think people are going to talk about it like that because so much flipping stuff happened in this comic. It was great.
Yes. You want to say impactful? Like every issue that came out, like this. So if you don't know, the basic pitch of this comic is, and then skip ahead like 7 minutes or whatever to the next category because don't spoil this for yourself. It talks about how Ben Solo became Kylo Ren. Charles Soule called it Ben to Ren. It's 4 issues also, spiced in. Thank you. From Ben to Ren was the pitch, and it shows you Ben Solo slowly getting corrupted by Snoke and by the Ren and meeting the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
And like everything from bleeding a crystal to get the crazy stuff to seeing what really happened at Luke's temple.
Yeah.
Like there's so much and seeing Jedi Master Luke Skywalker in his prime. Like whoo, Charles Soule wrote this, and I remember reading this and then finding out he was in Luminous and being like, oh, cool. Great. Good.
We had a whole episode of the show where we just talked about this comic. So I mean, that should tell you right there. But I do want to make this point. You want to know why I think this comic won? I mean,
I do.
I think I know why.
Big moments, impactful moments, scenes we never thought we'd see, things that we never thought we would experience. But it's because Snoke is wearing a hat and living on a weird little hidden secret garden planet.
I forgot about the hat.
Oh, he's got
Ben Solo. And that's what I'm here for. Okay.
Oh my God. It's Snoke hat.
I want to know.
Abs.
I really want to know whose idea that was. Like somebody was like, "Okay, you're right. I like this. I like this shot, but hear me out. What if Snoke had a hat on?"
Wait.
So then the artist draws him with like a baseball cap on. He's like, no. I mean like a Santa hat. You know, like a Santa hat.
No. I mean like a cool hat. No. I mean like think of the stupidest hat you can imagine. But then follow me on this. It's also a leaf. Huh?
Why?
Like, he's green. Snoke is green too. Okay, I like it. Keep going.
Why does he have a hat on? It's so good. Oh my God, I loved it. We all loved it. It's not a negative thing at all. We absolutely loved that he had a hat on because it was clever and creative and hilarious, and it makes sense that he's a puppet now for the Emperor because of course he wears a stupid hat.
Dressing him up. I think it was a splash page. If I'm not mistaken, it was a full page shot.
It was.
Yes.
I can imagine Palpatine's on Exegol. He's basically dead, and he goes like, "And now you will turn Ben Solo evil, but wait, first you will wear a leaf." It makes me giggle.
Put a hat on. Oh my God.
So we have a year and a half now to find one of those hats or all of those hats to wear when we go out drinking after celebration when we're all together. Everyone has to have that
it's
hat
a
on.
Scrooge nightcap. I bet we can find them somewhere. That's what it looks like.
It's gotta be.
Oh man, fantastic!
Another shout out to the runner-up, which was, as we've already mentioned on this show, Darth Vader by Greg Pak and Raphael Ienco, who is a tremendous artist. Speaking of people that are very thankful on Twitter, Raphael Ienco is the artist for the Darth Vader series. Loves hearing if you love this series, so absolutely tweeted him. This series, honestly, they had to follow Charles Soule writing Vader, which should be impossible.
Yeah, it should be, but they did it.
The Dark Lord of the Sith is one of our favorite comic series of all time. I mean, on a lot of our guides on the Youtini site, we say this is the best comic to read, ongoing series. So what Greg Pak decided to do was take that character and do something completely different. To do what happens when Vader has to reckon post-Empire with the fact that he was a father and he missed it. And actually his wife was alive. Like, oh my God. That's so crazy. And in the series since then, if you're up to date, has been following some things in The Rise of Skywalker, which is also very honestly brave with how divisive that film was, but it's taking some elements and making them really freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
And oh, like people always say, don't we have enough Vader? And logically,
No.
I want to
No.
say yes, but
No,
no,
we don't.
No, we don't.
I'm not sure we can have too much Vader, nor can we have enough of the mainline Star Wars comic, which I also want to especially shout out this year. And like, I've read a couple of these issues. I haven't read the whole run, but I've been trying to catch up on what's on Marvel Unlimited, and it's really good. I think it's stronger than the first bout of the mainline Star Wars comic. I think it's stronger, and it's good. The artwork is consistent. It's fantastic. Also a really good nominee.
Yeah,
I still think there's a lot between episode 3 and 4 that can be explored. So I mean, they can go on for years with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're someone like Corey that is like, maybe I've been doing Marvel Unlimited. All the books we're talking about are on our Marvel Unlimited right now. And since they all relaunched this year, there's not like 40 issues of each one to catch up on, which I know can be intimidating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you want, I think there's like a free trial you can get.
It is. It's a month. It's a month free trial. Just did it.
Great. Do a month. You can read. Honestly, you can catch up with all the current Star Wars books in a free month if you want. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But there's some amazing storytelling going in. And also, I got to say, it doesn't hurt having one of the architects of the High Republic write your main Star Wars comic,
right.
because he definitely puts in High Republic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Everyone, we just hit almost the hour mark of the show. We're here. 2020 has been a hell of a year. All things considered, we've gone through a lot. We've had a lot of great Star Wars content. We've had Clone Wars Season 7. We've had The Mandalorian. We've had incredible comics. But we've had some great books. And it's time now to finally reveal the Youtini 2020 Book of the Year. Wes?
And now, the award for Book of the Year, which is given to the best book in 2020 as voted by the Youtini staff and community. Here are the nominees. Shadowfall by Alexander Freed. Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising by Timothy Zahn. Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston. And From a Certain Point of View, The Empire Strikes Back by various authors. And now, the award for Book of the Year goes to, I'm just going to rip this one right open, is
Everyone, it's Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising by Timothy Zahn.
All right, yes.
Look at that. The Book of the Year is absolutely not rigged because Corey gave it a perfect 10. No, in all seriousness, this book, I can't think of a better book that emphasizes Youtini's mission of loving legends, of loving canon. This is the bridge that gives us to the future of Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
What an incredible moment.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think I saw, given I didn't really look for it that hard, but I don't think I've seen anything negative about this book. Everybody absolutely loved it. Like, it was fantastic. And how refreshing is it to have Timothy Zahn, such a incredible person and sort of harbinger of Star Wars books, by the way, to make his zealous return to Star Wars. Like, fantastic book.
And how perfect is it that he won as such an ambassador for both Legends and canon? I mean, that's perfect for our show. It represents everything that we believe in. And, Timothy Zahn couldn't be here tonight to personally accept this award, but it's really because we were trying to be #COVID safe. That's the only reason.
That's exactly it.
Yes,
exactly. Right.
And we appreciate that. We'll see you next year, Timothy. Thank you.
Yeah, like what, and honestly, just what a year for Star Wars books where this was the winner, because the runner-up is Shadowfall by Alexander Freed, another novel. And honestly, what's so exciting, guys, is that a big thing about canon was that everyone's saying, where are the series? Where are the continuation books that I loved so much in Legends? The winner and the runner-up both have sequels coming out in the next 6 months.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, they do.
How exciting.
Oh man, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, I absolutely loved the Thrawn book. I thought it just brought so much to canon. It brought so much really, really original storytelling. We got really fantastic quotes from Thrawn. I mean, good Lord, how many categories was this book nominated for? Like 3 or 4 at least. Like, fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. The cover was gorgeous. I loved it.
Yep.
Fantastic book.
Original story was really got me. I mean, we didn't have to rehash on anything. It could start from the very beginning of how Thrawn came up through the Chiss ascendancy or just starting to. So
yeah,
it was really something that people who've never even read Thrawn could get into.
absolutely.
Yeah. It was so much old and so much new. So
Yeah.
like so much we were familiar with, and yet, you know, even the opening to the book itself, what was it? It was like a long time ago in a galaxy like beyond. I can't.
Yeah,
like, beyond
it was different. It was different.
It was
oh
different.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It
it's
was so good.
whole new like area of space, like so much new
Yeah,
stuff.
right. Yeah, we talked a lot about that in the roundtable a month or so ago when we were talking about the idea of the chaos, like this area out beyond the outer rim, is such a genius idea because like you can do whatever you want. It's a complete open playground of this area that's too dangerous for anybody to travel. Like. Genius idea by Zahn. I know he's been dreaming and thinking about the origins of the Chiss for decades at this point. So fantastic to see this book kind of come in. I absolutely loved it. It's my probably favorite canon book I've ever read. It's so good. It's up there with Master and Apprentice for sure.
Yeah.
High praise.
It's so fun.
It is.
Because like you say, this book really took every expectation was apt. If you loved Thrawn, you loved this book. If you didn't like Thrawn as much, like me, I was a little bit apprehensive. I will totally admit that. And I freaking loved it. Like it hit every audience. And what a great way to go into 2021. By saying you don't have to align with old Star Wars. You don't have to align with new Star Wars. You just have to align with Star Wars because it is here for you. It is creating stories with new characters and old characters. And it is, if anything, has more momentum than it's ever had before.
Yeah.
So congratulations. My God.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Thrawn Ascendancy. Let's get some shout outs to the other nominees a little bit here because I think this was actually as much as we love Thrawn, I thought this was a very interesting year. If Thrawn had not been here, for example, this would have been a much more challenging choice, I believe.
Yeah.
Because
Shadowfall, Queen's Peril, and From a Certain Point of View. Like three also intensely different novels.
Yes. And how pleased were you guys to see From a Certain Point of View end up in there? Like the first one was not as well received as the second one has been, but we absolutely loved it. We just did our roundtable last week. Was that last week? I think it was last week.
Yes.
We just did the roundtable last week, and all of us loved it. I thought it added so much to Empire. I watched it this week, by the way, and seeing all the stories kind of play out on screen it's a good book. It's a really good book.
Yeah. Just tremendous. And to see something like to have the top books of the year be an anthology novel with a ton of different writers that we've never seen before is great. And then a YA novel about Padme and the Handmaidens, about a bunch of young women being strong. To have a Thrawn novel from the author but breaking new ground, and to have an intensely psychologically emotional novel that's also about starship pilots in a time pre-sequel trilogy but post-Empire. Like this is Star Wars publishing. This is what it is. You know, it's different, it's exciting, and it is celebrating every corner. And like, it's not like any of these things are going to be stopping anytime soon. Like 2021, looking ahead now, what you got to do at award shows, you got to see the next season, right? We got a brand new era starting. We have Thrawn continuing. We have Outfit Squadron continuing. We have a Mandalorian novel coming in the fall.
Oh my God.
And like, there's so much to be announced. The comic lines are continuing. Like, it just makes you want to just make noises of excitement.
We say this all the time, but there's like never been a better time to be a Star Wars fan because there's just so much incredible content coming out all the time. If you're not paying attention to all the mediums at once, you're really missing out on stuff. And it's just incredible that we get together every single week to talk about this stuff, and we never run out of stuff to talk about. Like it feels like we've never struggled with coming up with things to talk about, especially this year. Like last year we had a little more difficulty, but this year was like, man, we had something every single week to discuss easily. And if we didn't have something, we were just selectively ignoring some other content because we had to. Because there's just so much stuff. It's been a great year. It's been a really good year.
It was great. Because I mean, even every week when Corey's like, I don't want to do a show. I'm like, Corey, we have to do a show. You're like, no, I hate Star Wars. I'm like, no, Corey, you got to keep lying to people and tell you like it. Well, fine. Like, we made it through.
It's for the money. It's for the money. All right. Just don't forget.
Oh, but you know what? This isn't on the outline. Because in a second we're gonna give. Honestly, thank yous are way too small for the people that helped put this whole production together. But we're about to do that. But before we do, gentlemen, as we say goodbye to 2020, and honestly light a match on our way out.
Douse some gasoline on there as we go out the door. Please.
In 2021, what are, if we look ahead to the 2021 Youtinees, what are you most excited? I'm going to take away the High Republic because I feel like that's kind of a gimme. Yeah, that's a gimme. What are you most excited about to celebrate in next year's Youtinees? And anyone in the chat, what is a category you want us to add?
Yes.
Let's say that.
It's a good question.
Why not? Andrew, remember these.
I think if we're not discussing the High Republic period, which we're gonna need a lot of High Republic stuff next year.
Oh yes.
Like, I'm very interested to see what Book of the Year looks like. Let's just say that it's probably going to be a High Republic novel. I think Book of the Year will probably go to a High Republic novel. Probably.
That's fair.
But it's going to be interesting to see how the books fare out that are sort of closing the last chapter of canon, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, literally, like Alphabet Squadron is literally ending.
Yes, yeah, we're getting the last of the Alphabet Squadron. We're gonna get the last of. Have they predicted how long all the comics are gonna be? Are they gonna do a whole another year? I think so. Probably at least a year or two
at this point. Yeah, so yeah,
probably. We might see a close to the comics this next year and move into the Return of the Jedi era of comics. Maybe, I don't know. They've been doing the mainline comic Star Wars forever, so I don't know.
Yep.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how we transition into this, what I feel like is a new period in Star Wars canon storytelling. We're getting all these new films and TV shows and this new era entirely. Like, I think we're really seeing people start to stretch their creative wings. So I think next year is going to be a very challenging decision for a lot of categories.
I agree. And before I ask Charles and Wes what you are most excited for, I want to hit the chat who's already blowing up with things they want to see on the Youtinees next year. Such possibilities as best lightsaber fight, best emotional moment. Cheryl says best Thrawn, just best Thrawn as a whole. Specifically Thrawn winning awards. Best starfighter battle, best comic artist. A lot, best splash page as well. A lot of comic specific stuff would be really cool, and best comic cover specifically. I think comics are really going to take off next year as well with the High Republic #1 coming out, the High Republic Adventures happening. And there's so much stuff we don't know about. Yeah, I think that's what I'm most excited for. Charles, Wes, what about you guys?
I would say, I want to say that there's new animated series coming out. So there's the Bad Batch. So maybe not just for 2021, but I would say, like, what's the best Disney Plus show on the platform as it is right now?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot coming, and then on like something completely different than that. Well, what about Star Wars games? Like, are there going to be new Star Wars games coming out?
That's a good point.
Right. Yeah. Matt Martin did tease that he's never been more excited about Star Wars gaming from the story group. So
which is interesting. Are they about to dump like 4 new game titles on us too, in addition to all the film and TV? Because we've had pretty profound canon changes in regards to games. Jedi Fallen Order added a lot of really cool stuff to Order 66. Like, that was all fantastic.
All I know is that if EA announces the press event on a Thursday, buckle up.
Yeah. That's the damn truth.
Charles, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I think what Wes touched on there with the Disney Plus, I think the best kind of tie-in material is what I'm looking forward to. We've had some whispers about like Mandalorian written material and those kind of things. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they're able to do with that, because it's been one of the highlights of 2020, I think, was the Mandalorian, and getting something to read with respect to that, maybe a comic. I don't know. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we need a better phrase, and there's never been a better time to be a Star Wars fan. But damn if it isn't true. Like, when it comes to next year, everyone, when you're making up your reading list, when the holidays are done, and you're like, okay, I want a new book, there's no wrong choice. I mean, at Youtini, we make guides for characters, we make guides for eras, and please use those. Please use them, and I hope they help. But ultimately, with every new thing that comes out, there's a creator in the world right now that is writing what they loved most about Star Wars, and it's coming through on the page. You can't go wrong.
There's something to love about every single Star Wars project. And even if you feel sort of negative about a lot of Star Wars projects, like I said this a couple of weeks ago on the show, but this just stuck with me so much. Somebody tweeted, like, pick your least favorite Star Wars film and say something positive about it. And I'm like, what a profound thought, because there is not a single Star Wars item that exists that, like, you cannot have a crap ton of positive things to say about it. Like, particularly all the canon books, just all of them. You can just see the love just poured out by the creators inside those books. So it's such a good time to be a Star Wars fan. I'll keep saying it, Eric.
Question. It's great. You know what? Hey, we're getting sappy. We're getting sentimental. Corey, since we're here, would you mind telling our audience here, both in the chat live and listening and hopefully watching our crazy antics later, who was responsible for putting together these amazing, just everything about tonight?
Yes, absolutely. I specifically want to thank Matt and Andrew for all of the hard work that they did on this project. Like, Andrew came up with this genius idea a couple months ago and said we need to do an award show for all the books and comics and Star Wars. And I was like immediately, yes. Like, when he pitched it, he was just kind of like, hey, I've had this idea. I don't know if we should do it. I was like, dude, yes, it's such a good idea. And this has been a ton of fun. Like, seeing this unfold from our community and our staff has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to do this next year. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger every single year. We're going to make this annual event around Christmas time every single year, which is really, really exciting. So special thank you to Andrew for all your hard work in helping us put all this together. He did all the surveys, all the initial ideas. He worked with Jose, the designer, to create the trophies. It was a ton of fun.
He literally created the physical cards that I got and UPS'd them to me so I could open them on camera.
Yes,
like,
yes,
dude.
Yes. Eric did. I'm the only person that knew who was going to win things because I had to build the layouts and stuff. But, like, excellent work, Andrew.
Yeah, literally, my desire to be surprised made Andrew pay money to UPS. Like, I could have just made these, but I didn't want to know. And I am that selfish, and Andrew is that awesome. So thank you.
Yes. The second thank you I want to hand out is to Matt, who you guys saw put an excellent amount of work into his announcements of all of the different categories. So a special thank you to Matt. I've said this 1,000 times. If anybody quits on the Youtini team, it's all volunteer work. Sorry to see you guys go. If Matt threatens to quit, he's the only person that's on the entire team that'll be like, I'll pay you whatever you want. He is. That is absolutely the case, because Matt is an incredible artist, and it's fantastic to see his work. And, like, I love his set for Cantina of Comics.
It's beautiful.
It is. I love seeing him.
I can't get exposed brick in Chicago. You know how expensive that is here?
So special thank you to Matt. Thanks for all your hard work. And lastly, special thanks to the designers that put all the work into our show.
Look at them.
Ryan, Jose, and Emma, you guys all were absolutely crucial in the design of all of the visuals that you guys saw for this show. I mean, look at this. Look at this design that Ryan put into with the X-Wing and the TIE fighters that are hanging over the images. Like, it's really, really professional. Ryan and Jose did all of that stuff, and Emma edited all of our videos for us. So thank you guys so incredibly much. Like, we could not do any of this without you. It's been a pleasure. This has been a hell of a year for Youtini, and it's been an absolute pleasure to round it out with such amazing talent. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, without question. And as we're about to close out the first annual Youtini Awards, I want to give a quick plug that next week we are keeping the fun going, because next Monday night is the Youtini Christmas party, the holiday event of the season. It's going to be very silly. It's going to be a lot of us at Youtini opening Secret Santa gifts and just being sappy with each other. It'll be a little chaotic. It will not be your typical episode. So if you need a little more holiday cheer in your life, we'd love to see you next week. Just for fun. It'll be pure fun and happiness, showing you some people behind the scenes that are working to make the content that we hope you enjoy every week, because this team, honestly, in a year where we all kind of need a little more, I don't know, happiness and connection, at least personally, this has really made me feel connected to the family of Youtini. So you'll get to see them next week, see whatever people bought each other for Secret Santa. So we'll see you then. But you know what? Before I do my outro, and then we do have one special little announcement right at the end. Charles, Corey, Wes, any final thoughts to round out the first annual 2020 Youtinees?
It's been a good year, friends. Absolutely been a good year.
I think. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hope this really is the first of many, y'all. I'm looking forward to next year already.
Yeah, it's really fun to interact with the same people who have the same interest in you, especially in Star Wars. As we were talking about how we couldn't not come up with anything to talk about, and when you tell somebody that doesn't know about Star Wars, like, how do you talk about Star Wars every week? I think, how do you aren't you done after the movies? It's like, you just have no idea.
No idea.
Absolutely. And my final thought is we all look damn good in suits. So
this is the first time I've ever worn a bow tie in my life, and I'm kind of digging it. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you're a bow tie guy. You might be. Well, on that incredibly sexy note, friends, I'll do my little outro and thank you all for witnessing the first annual Youtini Awards on this week's Living Force. If you already support us on Patreon, thank you so much. All of our extra content is over there, patreon.com/Youtini. A special thank you to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, Kyle Hickman, Elizabeth Cloutier, Freddie C., Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command, who honestly made this whole event possible. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Charles is at C. Henkel. Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you additionally to Matt Davenport, our editor, Ryan, our graphic designer, Wes, our producer, community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for hosting the first annual Youtinees with me. Thank you to all of you for tuning in, but I will give the final word to a very special friend.
And those are your 2020 Youtini winners. Congratulations to all the nominees and all the winners of the prestigious 2020 Youtini Awards. On behalf of all the staff here at Youtini, I'm Matt Davenport, wishing you bright suns and may the Force be with you.